let us all do we can to build a better future. Look, I got 2 funny gaffe videos from Biden, so yeah, this is going to be a Biden it up kind of segment, but...
Oh, by the way, I'm very sorry to the headphone users out there.
Yeah, Biden it up. There you go. So, look, we know that there's been a lot of stories out there talking about the massacre that happened in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And President Biden, there, I hope that makes you happy, YouTube. President Biden remarked on it. But first, I want to pull this video up and get a real response from someone who's been speaking truth to power, Dr. Cornell West. And this is his response to Biden's speech. But also, again, I got 2 other videos that, of course, look, we could play Biden's full speech about him speaking about the massacre, but there's 2 gaffes that will follow after this. And I have to say, vote blue no matter who. Biden was your champion? All right, well, here, first, let Dr. Cornell West school you. Let's play this first video.
I understand the significance of the Tulsa massacre, and quite frankly, I did not learn it when I was in grade school or junior high or high school or college. Can you explain why it's so important for a sitting U.S. president to visit Tulsa, memorialize the victims, and clarify that it wasn't a race riot, it was a racist massacre?
Absolutely, though, brother. In fact, it was a barbaric moment in the 400 years war against black people. So that Brother Martin is absolutely right. We could talk about Wilmington 1898, Atlanta 1906, Springfield 1908, Atlanta, Arkansas 1919, all the way up to Breonna Taylor and George Floyd Jr. I think what Brother Biden did was at least he cast a limelight, and I'm glad to see that. But if he doesn't understand this as a barbaric moment in a 400-year war against black folks psychically, politically, socially, educationally, and also militarily, then he can't conclude that America's, when he says America's not a racist nation, his speech just undercut that. When he says we don't have enough black home ownership, well, it was his support for Wall Street that led toward the decline in black ownership in 2008. He's got to take responsibility for his own history, or he's living in denial.
Agreed.
And if he thinks that business loans and dealing with housing is going to be enough to deal with the depths and the breadth of black suffering, the poverty, the inadequate education, not enough health access to health care, then, you know, he's playing the flute and we need to hear the whole symphony. So it's good for him to be in Tulsa. As you know, I was born in Tulsa. I was born in Greenwood. So it's a going home, and I'm glad he's there. But we don't need just another pretty speech that hides and conceals the depth of the suffering. He's got to realize America's not just racist, but it's also one that reinforces a poverty, psychic and economic, that's bombarding black people and others as well. William Barber understands this. Brother Martin Key III understands this. I know Jesse's there. He understands this. We've got to hit this head on, my brother.
So, Mr. King, the president...
All right. So first, again, Dr. Cornell West speaking truth to power. I actually had the opportunity to interview him way back in 2016. It was a wonderful time for me to at least starting off this career with journalism. But let me also just say this right now. Look, Biden, he's been on the wrong side of a lot of issues, who proudly said that he'd prostitute himself to corporations. He worked with segregationists to keep, make sure that busing didn't happen. He didn't want his white kids to go to school with black kids. He said that. These are words from his own mouth. He was against women's reproductive rights. The man has a horrible history of supporting corporations, banks. Basically, he could right now end student debt. But oh, wait, in 2005, he sided with the credit card corporations to make student debt what it is right now. And also, let's not forget, he voted for the war in Iraq. Now, let's pull up this next video clip. Shout out to Fred Hampton Leftists. Again, they do a lot of good work. Check out their YouTube channel. I'm trying messaging to get them on our show. There's been a lot of stuff going on back and forth. I'm trying to make sure that they get my messages. So I would like to actually interview them because they're doing a lot of good stuff. They recently had Jimmy Dore on the show, but they found this clip where, again, this was in Biden's speech in Tulsa, Oklahoma, acknowledging the massacre that happened there. And I don't know, everyone, listen to this. It's 30 seconds, but it's just downright the dumbest thing ever.
The data shows young black entrepreneurs are just as capable of succeeding given the chance as white entrepreneurs are. But they don't have lawyers. They don't have They don't have accountants, but they have great ideas. Does anyone doubt this whole nation would be better off from the investments those people make? And I promise you, that's why I set up this National Small Business Administration that's much broader, because they're going to get those loans. The data shows.
Okay, hold on. So let
applaud him for making full sentences, or nearly.
Yeah,
That's it.
All of a sudden, I just can't help but say, I can't help but remember when he said during the campaign, poor kids are just as smart as white kids.
That's exactly what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Black people, like, I think he goes on in this video about like black people being able to come up with
No,
ideas.
It really does feel like he's trying to convince himself when he's talking.
Yeah. So hey, vote blue. But see, the thing is, there's a lot of vote blue no matter who, and Kev, who thinks that was a great speech. Oh wow, speech. Yes, these are words, not deeds. These are statements, not actions. But hold on, and again, I want to play another video from Case Study QB. Where again, Biden, his mental capacity. I think it's starting to go away. You know, I mean, starting. Haha. Maybe it's already gone. Hold on, don't. If
Biden's mental capacity is just as good as poor kids and white kids.
Oh yeah, there we go. Let's go ahead and play this video again. Shout out to Case Study QB. Be sure to follow him on Twitter. I have no idea what Biden is saying in this clip.
And although I have no scientific basis for what I'm about to say,
Oh my God.
but those of you who are over 50, how often did you ever see advertisements on television with black and white couples?
Oh my God, I forgot about this.
Not a joke. I challenge you. Find today, when you turn on the stations, sit on one station for 2 hours, and I don't know how many commercials you'll see. Lay 8 to 5. 2 to 3 out of 5 have mixed race couples.
What is he talking about?
That's not by accident. They're selling soap, man.
OMG.
Not a joke. Remember old Pat Goodell used to say, you want to know what's happening in American culture? Watch advertising. Because they want to sell what they have.
Was that a groan from the audience?
Hope.
Because it should have been.
And folks like you, honey.
Oh my God, please stop.
I really mean it. We have hope, but we've got to give them support.
Oh my God, this is really,
I'm
it's
gonna
painful.
I'm gonna call this
painful.
Joe Biden tries to make a speech.
All right, so everyone, look, Biden's speech, it wasn't that great. I mean, again,
the understatement of the year, kid.
I know. None of his speeches are great, all right? But, I mean, when we look at the bigger issues that are impacting this country, Biden's leadership is a failure at this point. I mean, at a stroke of a pen, he could do an executive order to get rid of student debt. He can make the lives of not only of entire generations better, but it can make sure that future generations will never again have to deal with a thing called student debt. And see, the thing is, education is out of reach of a lot of families right now, especially impacting African-American and Latino communities, where, again, college debt is like one of the crippling factors, especially for millennials and going to Gen Z. But a lot of people are dealing with student debt because, again, it's a long-term problem. But, again, Biden's speech, he's missing the bigger issue, and that is the massacre that took place in Tulsa, Oklahoma. There was a fully functioning community known as, and again, went by a nickname Black Wall Street, where, again, the community was thriving. The economy was strong there, and it was decimated due to the racist policies of the United States. And Daniel, to your point, because you talked about this on yesterday's show, but it was the only town that was bombed during World War I, right?
Mm-hmm.
Again, Kira, Daniel, I'm pretty sure you have your own perspectives that add on to this disaster. I mean, the only thing that we could take away is that, again, Dr. Cornell West is speaking truth to power, and Biden, he's somewhere over there in La La Land.
Yeah, no, God, he's such a disaster. It's so embarrassing. It's so, like, race is already, like, a difficult subject, and then you bring in someone like Biden who just, like, it's just debauchery the entire time because he doesn't know what he's talking about. And I don't know which one of you said, it sounds like he's trying to convince himself. Yes. I mean, that 30 seconds of him being like, Black entrepreneurs have good ideas. It's like, we all have good ideas.
Everyone has a good idea.
Imagination.
Yes.
Like, that's how that freaking works. And, one of the things that wasn't mentioned in any of the clips that I just want to make sure I shine a light on, and it's not that our audience doesn't already know this, but it needs to be mentioned, and that is incarceration of black people. I mean, how many people does that impact? How many generations later does that impact them?
Agreed.
You know, and the trauma of like seeing your dad go to jail for no reason or seeing your dad get shot, you know, is just, I mean, that's a lasting effect. That's a lasting impact on a family and a community as a whole. I mean, let me tell you about privilege, right? Like I own a company. I've owned 5 in total. I run and operate 2 right now. I would not be able to do that. I almost guarantee it if I was a black woman in America with the amount of trouble that I used to get into as a youth. Because I would either be incarcerated or killed. And that's just the fact of the matter. And I think we all know Biden's responsibility in those incarceration rates. It's just maddening.
Because he wrote the crime bill. Let's face it, he wrote the crime bill and never apologized. Even Bill Clinton apologized.
I just want to remind people on top of this, like it effectively is a numbers game that we're talking about of what is the chance that a positive thing will happen if something happens. So we know that in like Las Vegas, the House builds an empire of billions of dollars off of, in most cases, like a 1% or 2% chance of winning on the House's side. So over the long term of a life, an extra 5% disadvantage is enormous if you're competing with people that are rolling normal dice. If you have to roll a 20-sided dice, and everyone wins if they rolls a 10 or up, and you win only if you roll 11 or up. 1/20th of the interactions you have are going to be miserable that weren't otherwise. It's one thing. It's like I hear it in Joe Biden like questioning what's going on. It's like this question of what they can't understand the difference. They can't understand why these things happen, how it radiates out in such a way. How again, it's like if you have a parent who, just because of there's more police in an area, are now this much more likely to be arrested for something. Play that out with enough people, you're going to destabilize whole communities. And then you're going to have people who never went through that go, I don't get why they can't just get it together.
Yeah.
And then, of course, then they go write crime bills, and they later on in their life go, man, I really should not have utilized, I should have not really been friends with Strom Thurmond. But I'm president now, and I'm trying to convince myself that all of this makes sense. Biden is responsible for so much of this, and it really infuriates me that imagine if we had a scenario where the backgrounds of Trump and Biden were completely flipped, like everything they had done were flipped. Trump had been in government for a very long time. Biden had been a very successful business person. Everything. Well, yeah. But my point is, everything would be the same. We would just be flipping. So it would be the exact same. Trump would be protected because everyone's just picking their tribe. There's way too much tribalism in America right now. Historically, we understand why. I don't think they understand, the people in those winning tribes understand why people are so upset. I don't think they have the ability to.
I'm going to give a final note to the story. If you are a diehard vote blue, no matter who are have, or a diehard red Republican Trump voter, guess what? You're a very good puppet. So long as you are complacent with the two-party system, you will never get anything. And the fact that you think that you have a seat at a table is the most wonderful childish notion I've ever seen. In fact, when a kid says, I believe in Santa Claus, that belief right there has more power, more weight to it than the idea of, oh yeah, I'm a Democratic voter, I'm a Republican voter, and I have a seat at the table, and my lawmakers care what I think. No. They don't. It's one big club, and you ain't in it. And Santa Claus will never deliver that for you.